what they should be doing because they're coming to you as a professional. Don't just leave it up in the air because then why are you there?
Yeah, for sure. Like you go to the doctor and you get an x-ray and there's a broken bone or there's something. And they're like, well,
you couldn't need surgery, maybe just a boot.
But I don't know. You should, I don't know, think about it. Try a few of these things. Try a few things. And then, welcome to Loans Elevated, the podcast that brings you the latest industry news, expert interviews, and insightful discussions that will help you stay ahead in this dynamic market. I'm your host, Brock Lassick, and I've spent years in the trenches of the mortgage industry, helping individuals and businesses navigate the complex landscape of real estate financing.
I'm your co-host, TJ Heidenreich, and together we'll cover a wide range of topics, from business strategies that skyrocket your success to mindset and motivation that fuel your growth.
All right, welcome back to the Loans Elevated podcast. So today we're talking about something that was a little bit of a realization we had on our team. And this market that we're in, it's a challenging market. We went from the 2020 type market where loans and real estate transactions were literally falling out of the sky. The way you got a loan or a client buying or selling a home was you just simply picked up your phone. That's all you had to do.
Press the green button.
Yeah, press the green button and then boom, you got a deal.
And a paycheck.
Yeah. And now it's changed significantly over the past few years. And all of us have had to lift pretty heavy weight and learn how to become actual salespeople again. And we had this epiphany because we were losing clients more often than we wanted. And we're like, what is going on? And I had this epiphany that I shared with TJ and eventually created what we're going to talk about today. But I was like, you know what our problem is as a team and as salespeople within our branch? We know how to run, or we are running a single play. So every client they call in, we run the same play. It didn't matter if we were on offense or defense. It didn't matter what the offense or defense was doing. We just kept running the same play over and over and over again.
Nothing.
No adjustments, no audibles, nothing. And it was just foolish. I was like, we need a playbook. There are different clients. There are people with different needs, different circumstances, and the same exact thing doesn't apply or doesn't bring value to every client and every situation. So we created, with the help of ChatGPT, by the way, the Client Match and Mirror Manual. That was for our team to create more or less a simple training guide or a simple execution guide. So when you talk to a client, it's like, all right, quickly, this is this type of client. What are they going to say? How do I identify it? And then what do I say back? And how do I instill trust and faith in them to know that we are a solid resource to support them in their home buying or home financing journey? So after we did that, it was a big hit with our team. They loved it. We loved it. And it was unexpectedly beneficial, actually. So we figured, all right, why don't we just do the same thing for realtors and share this with our realtor partners to help bring value to them and their teams, because this is something that all of us in this industry are struggling with because it was so easy and we got so out of sales shape for so many years.
Yeah, well, and I think it's also a different type of shape. Like we're building a different muscle. Before it was more volume, like getting all the reps in. Now it's like, okay, you don't get the opportunity to get the same amount of reps. Let's put more weight on, and really flex your muscles where you can in order to ensure that every at-bat you get, you're striking the ball. That's what this is really designed for.
100%.
So we've put this into two types for agents. We've got buyers and sellers and different categories for each type. So we'll dive into the first buyer type. That's going to be the novice. And how do you identify a novice?
Yeah, so good question. And real quick, we tried to come up with cute names that you could implement in your business that made logical sense, but it wasn't this long sentence. So the novice really stands for like a first-time buyer, somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, brand new. And it seems intuitive. I get it. So I'm not trying to dumb it down too much. But really, we dive into first, what are they going to say when you hear from this type of client? When you hear from a novice home buyer, what are they going to say? They might say things like, we're just starting to look. We're not in a rush. We don't really know what to expect. Or our parents or aunt and uncle or grandparents, whatever, said that we should think about buying a home. So these are some things where there is not the underlying theme here. And bear in mind, there's many other things that they could say, but this is meant to show an overarching like theme of the way they're going to enter the communication with you. There will be some level of uncertainty, inexperience.
Yeah, I mean, these are just like hot phrases. Like,
Yeah.
if you're unsure, if you hear a phrase that comes out of their mouth that matches these,
Something
you
like
know
that.
where
That's
to
what
tie
they
into.
say. So then what they need is the next piece.
Yeah, I mean, they need reassurance and guidance. They want to know that they're making the right decision throughout the process. You might, and this might be not just one time you have to give them reassurance. This could be constantly throughout the whole transaction, even the same conversation, to help them through it. They need help understanding what matters and what doesn't, because they might be hyper-focused on something that doesn't even matter in the whole process.
Which is the danger of ChatGPT and anything else you look at online.
Yeah.
Is they might get tunnel vision on one thing that they heard of or their parents or family told them about, and that's the only thing that matters. So it's our job to help educate.
And a clear, calm first experience. They want, especially the first-time home buyers or this novice type, they want a process. They want to feel like there's an A, B, C, all the way down to the finish line.
Yeah. They literally want you to grab their hand. All right, let's go. A little faster. Perfect. We're going to take a right up here in just a minute. Okay, we're turning right. That type of thing. And so to maybe just reel back and make sure all of this connects, what they say, hey, you know, my cousin told me to call you. They used you to buy a home a year ago, and so we wanted to reach out. We're in very early stages. We're just starting to look, and yeah, we would love your help. So how might they respond?
How might the lender or the realtor respond?
Yeah.
Well, they're then going to say, well, congrats. We're excited to help. Let's schedule something so I can better understand your needs and how we can fill them. That's already giving them that process, or a call, whatever it is, a process that they can then go down that road. Now, a couple things here. You want to slow down, define each step simply. You don't want to just braze through the whole process in a quick 30-minute call or a 30-second call, because that's going to scare them, and you're putting too much information in front of them at once. They're just going to shut down or go elsewhere right off the bat. Pause often to explain vocabulary, because there's going to be terminology that in our day-to-day that we use that's going to go way overhead. So,
and I accidentally use that stuff with clients and thankfully catch myself. But yeah, like we talk about it so often, and so many of our clients actually understand some of the terminology if they're not a novice, that you can just quickly bust through conversations. So being highly aware of that is important.
And then the last thing is, and this is the most important, because as professionals, we want to give our clients options, but don't overwhelm them with options. You know the route that they want to go or need to go.
Yeah.
Give them a couple of options, and also give your, I don't want to say opinion, but give a suggestion on what they should be doing, because they're coming to you as a professional. Don't just leave it up in the air, because then why are you there?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you go to the doctor and you get an x-ray and there's a broken bone or there's something, and they're like, well,
you couldn't need surgery, maybe just a boot.
But I don't know. You should, I don't know, think about it. Try a few of these things. Try a few things, and
that's not what you go to
want
them
certainty.
For. Yeah,
and we're not doctors, but we play in a world where people really need us to give them certainty. It's a super complex, super high emotion type thing. So it's like, if they're brand new, again, go back to what they need, reassurance and guidance. This kind of follows through with how to guide them. So it's slow things down. Hey, this is super exciting. I can't wait to help you, just like TJ said. Now, my team and I, we're built to make this super easy. There's no rush, but we will be able to help educate you on what to buy and how to buy and get you from start to finish without any hiccups, no stress, and we'll be there every step of the way. That would be a way that it's like, just make them feel super warm and fuzzy, these novice buyers.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
So now the homeowner.
Well, yeah. And one thing and maybe we'll dive into this a little bit later, but this is also something we realized when we created this, is when you're working with home buyers, there's not just one person involved. Very seldomly is there just one person involved. You're going to have multiple different personalities. So maybe you are dealing with a novice, but then maybe the spouse, or maybe there's a parent involved. Yeah. They could be a homeowner. So you're going to have to flip-flop back and forth between these different personalities and how you're responding to them, which is, I mean, why as an agent, you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Sales, period.
Exactly.
Right? Navigating personalities and situations.
Yeah, yeah. But diving into the next one, the homeowner.
Yeah.
What they say.
So time out.
Yeah.
Homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
This is a buyer we're talking about.
Yep.
So bear in mind, a homeowner is the way we explain this is just somebody who has owned real estate in the past. They've done this before. Yeah. They're not an expert, but it's like
the past 10 years,
they don't need you to
this.
hold their hand.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they kind of understand it. So
yeah, they know some of the terminology. Yeah. They're not a complete novice.
Yep.
So things they might say, we've done this before. We just want it handled right. We know what we're looking for. We'll tell you when it's the one, meaning like they don't want you to hold their hand through the process. They just want to kind of browse on the internet.
Or they don't want you to push them to a house.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we'll let you know when it's the house we want to buy.
We're looking for a better experience this time around, which, I mean, that's a key indicator. Like, okay, cool. You already know where to put the hook in. You just need to ask more questions. So what they need, professionalism, proactivity, clear communication, and minimal fluff. And they want to feel like you're anticipating their needs, not reacting, which is, I mean, pretty plain and simple.
So most likely these people are going to be almost the opposite of the novice. It's like they don't want you to be warm and fuzzy. Like they want you to be calm, collected, confident, professional, but they understand it. They know what they want. This isn't something they're scared of. They just need somebody who's highly qualified to get them through the finish line efficiently and with as minimal stress as possible. That's how I view that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
How to guide them.
I mean, keep communication clean and timeline focused. I think these people love timelines.
Yeah, for sure. And it also helps us just because in the transaction, like you mentioned earlier, we sometimes will use acronyms and different lingo in the industry, but we'll also just take for granted that like the appraisal will take a week and you tell your buyer that the appraisal's ordered and they're following up like in a couple hours or the next day. Hey, is the appraisal back yet? It's like we forgot. Yeah, we forgot to tell them what the timeline was. So, I think that's also important. These people might know, but they might feel like they know and actually not know. So I think clarifying that and setting clear expectations is pretty critical for all these.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, and this is kind of the gray, dangerous area too, because I think I always want to err on the side of being over communicative because last thing you want to do is assume they know and then they don't know. Because that's how you really hurt your reputation in the long run.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Be responsive, but don't hover. Match their rhythm, which I think and
that's kind of what you just said.
Yeah.
Match like if they're just like bullet point, give them bullet points. If they're like, we know how to do this, but they're kind of getting emotional and you're dealing with different dynamics, maybe like between a couple, two spouses, and there's different things happening, like match the rhythm of the situation. Don't try and rush through it. Don't try and coddle them too much if that's not what they want, so on and so forth.
Yeah. And then lastly, avoid over-explaining. They want confidence, not coaching, which I think is huge.
Agreed. Does your home and auto insurance seem to go up every year without fail? Mine did too. I thought this was just the way the insurance industry worked until I found my friend Alan Johnson with American Family Insurance. After more than 15 years with the same insurance agent, he saved me over $3,000 per year when I switched. I refer all my family, friends, and clients to him, and their experience is similar. Great rates and a great experience. Call Alan for a free quote today at 801-708-2962. So that's the homeowner.
Yep. And then next is the shopper. This is someone that they don't really care what you have to offer, or maybe they do, but they want a good deal through and through. Things that they want to say. We're interviewing a few agents. What do you charge? Another agent said they could list for more, or they could do it for cheaper. This should be actually, because this is a shopper, they could do it for cheaper. I mean, it's pretty plain and simple. The good thing about a shopper, usually you can identify them pretty quick.
Yeah, they're just going to ask. It's about price.
Yeah.
What price, is this? What is that? Can you discount your commission? Can you give me a credit? This agent said they would do this. Will you do that? And now what they need and what we've, this is the trickiest type of client, I would say, because they are just like, tell me, like they see very little value in the service that you provide. And it's just like super transactional, and how cheap can you do it? So what they need for you to kind of shift that paradigm is they need to feel that you are in control and confident in your business, and they need to feel well informed. They need clarity on.
But at the same time, they want to feel like they're driving the boat still.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. But they need to feel in control and well informed.
There you go. Yep.
So number 2 is clarity on what differentiates you. So again, this is, I would say even more importantly, no fluff. It's absolute clarity. Like, why are you different? How can you provide value? How can you justify what you get paid? And why is what the other agent offering not as significant as what you're offering? And how can they not compare? So I think that really is like maybe the most important thing with this shopper type is having an answer to the value you bring.
I think this is where you really need to have your elevator pitch dialed in for these types of clients.
Yep.
Like,
for sure.
say it clear, calm, and concise with no hesitation. That's what's going to impress these clients the most.
And oftentimes, maybe at least half and half, but I would say more often than not, these types of clients, if you do execute well and you do perform at a high level and you are polished and you have that elevator pitch, they're going to be the ones that have faith and confidence in a realtor in the future, and they're never going to ask questions again.
Right.
Once you earn their trust, which is
it's a shop once type deal.
Hopefully, yeah. And then they want to have the ability to assess your value to them without being sold. So you got to be cautious in educating, being confident, sharing what you do that differentiates you, but not oversell them, basically, is the deal. Now, how to guide them.
How to guide them. Stay confident and data-driven. You mentioned that. Avoid justifying yourself, which I think is huge. Like it kind of goes to don't oversell yourself either.
Yeah.
Give your elevator pitch, then listen.
Well, and the thing is, like, it's kind of funny how this is happening, but you've got to have confidence in what you're saying. You can't freaking wing it. These are the types of clients you need to be prepped, because the reason you over-justify or you say something and you're like, and I mean, I don't know. We don't have to do that, but the reason we do that is, and you start stumbling over your words is because you're not practiced, and they're going to sniff that out immediately and move on, or it's just going to give them more leverage to essentially just keep cutting you down on your cost, and you're going to make less and less money.
Which goes into the next one. Well, one of them is don't chase. Give them space to hold structure.
Yeah. So you hold the structure. Don't chase them. Just confidently. Give them the facts, give them the figures, give them the data.
Because if you're a damn good agent, and maybe the best thing they can do, which sounds weird, is interview another agent to see someone that's not as polished.
Right. And you got to be confident. You can't be scared. You can't be desperate and like, well, I don't know. You just tell me what I got to do and I'll do it. You know, it's like you got to be worth it to them. And the weird thing is, this shopper type will buy from the person who is the confident one, who's not overselling, who's not over justifying, who's not over explaining and treating them like they don't know what they're doing. These people are generally the most sophisticated, astute type of clients.
At least in our industry, I find that. Yeah, 100% true.
Yeah. So that's the shopper, probably the most complicated.
Yeah, I missed one bullet point here. Lead with process and outcome clarity, not a personal sales pitch.
Right.
So like when you have this elevator pitch, make sure your process is involved. Don't sell on yourself. Sell on the process itself. Yeah.
Just get that sales pitch dialed in, why it matters, what value you actually bring. Don't fluff it up. Don't make it rainbows and butterflies. It's just like, this is why I'm the pro. This is why you should trust me. I'm going to get you from point A to point Z, and you told me that's what you wanted to accomplish. I'm the one that can do it for you the best.
Yeah.
That's the type of response you need to curate, basically.
Yep. Next, the skeptic. What they say. We had a bad experience last time. We just don't want to get screwed again. We're not sure if we even trust agents. This one, you're starting off behind the 8 ball. I mean, you've got some damage control that you may have not even done yourself.
Right.
So you've got to start off with some damage control. What they need: transparency, not persuasion, consistency and calmness, to be shown, not told, and why they can trust you as a professional. Anything you want to add to what they need?
The only thing I would say what they need, like I like the transparency, not persuasion, but I think it might be acknowledgement or validation to the experience, like why they're such a skeptic. wow, that I would, honestly, I wouldn't trust me either if that's the experience I had with a realtor. So let me just tell you how our industry works and why I think that might have gone wrong the first go around. This. Not, hey, don't worry about it. It's totally fine. I mean, come on. It's just you can't be the slimy salesperson. Immediately they're going to be turned off.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing I would add to that.
Yeah. And I say be interested, not interesting with these type of people. Ask the right questions as to why they had the bad experience.
Yep. Because you got to empathize with them, and that will develop immediate trust.
Yeah, you're going to inherit that so quick.
Yep.
How to guide them. Set expectations early and reinforce them often. Stay patient and emotionally neutral. Let your process do the talking. Don't over-explain.
So they're the type that you just have to get the job done. Show them, don't tell them, execute and do it. So I would say it's most important. Acknowledge their feelings, acknowledge their fear, empathize with what they experienced, and then just go to work like a true, legit professional and do it, but be there for them. Make sure it's crystal clear explanations. You don't have, with these clients, you don't have any grace. You have no grace to screw up in the process, to say the wrong thing or forget to give them an update. Because immediately they're going to not trust you.
Yeah.
It's like you date a new person who just got out of a relationship that they got cheated on. You could be going to the bathroom and you don't answer the phone and suddenly they think that you're cheating on them, right? That's the type of client that these people are.
No, it's true. So. It is true. I would say, it's like fishing in an overfished pond. It's like if they see any movement with that fly, you're screwed. They're going elsewhere because they're just so skeptical about the whole process.
Yep.
Now moving on to sellers, the same client types. Well, okay, let me back up for a minute. Isn't it interesting that process I think is a common theme in this, which I think is where we got confused, and this is how this came about. We thought we were running a process, but there's a difference between running a process and having a general process, but then plays within the process. So stay true to your process, but you can have audibles inside this process that's still running it's still getting the ball down the field.
Yep. Like you have a type of offense and a type of defense. That's your process. That's the way you do things. But then you have a myriad of plays within that process. And that's the big trick is like, stay true to your process, to your point. And honestly, a lot of this is like selling on your process, reinforcing that process, using it as a sales pitch for the shopper type client, where it's like very few people in any sales industry, but certainly in real estate and mortgage, have a dialed in process. So that differentiates you across every one of these types. Right. If you were just really dialed in, but then more importantly, to earn the business and maintain the business long-term is doing what you said you would do. So don't come up with a fancy process without the backbone to do it. Right? Yeah, that's the caution, but.
Sweet. Well, hey, we will do a part 2.
Hang on, we got to say it different than that. Okay. All right. So those are the buyer types, and we have the seller types coming up on the next episode. So keep an eye out for that, and feel free to hit us up. We have a document created that we can share with you. So hit us up at lassigteam.com or loanselevated.com and let us know that you want this, and we can get you a copy of this cheat sheet for you and your team to rely on and hopefully improve your sales, help you win more clients. But thanks for tuning in. Keep an eye out for the next episode for seller types on the Client Match and Mirror Manual.
Thank you for tuning in. For more industry insights, follow us on all platforms at Loans Elevated.
And to get in touch with our team, call or text 801-713-4000 or visit loanselevated.com.